Hi, everybody. Welcome to the A. Smith Gallery Talk about water, which is up right now in the online gallery. It'll come down on August the 3rd. It's almost over. And the juror for this was Elizabeth Avedon. Do you want to talk about COVID first?
Yeah. Well, Man and I both have COVID right now, so we're going to soldier through this, but excuse us because we're really goofy right now, because that's one of the things that COVID does. It makes you really goofy.
Goofier.
Yeah.
And
goofier.
And it kind of clogs up your throat
a
bit.
That. Well, this is the second time we've had it in succession, so we're tired of it. And there's only one reported case of somebody getting it through the computer. And it turns out that the person that got it was in the same room with the computer.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Can we start now?
We can start now.
Okay. So water. Water is going to be up in the gallery, on the online gallery, until August the 3rd. And we were very lucky enough to have one of our favorite jurors, Elizabeth Avedon, juror water. And she had about 1,400 images to look at. So that's no easy task. And she picked 55. And then after that, Kevin and I selected the 27 that go into the book that'll eventually be produced. So I think Kevin's going to read Elizabeth's bio.
Okay. Elizabeth Avedon is the juror for water. Elizabeth is an independent curator, photography, book designer, and writer. As former director of Photo Eye Gallery Santa Fe, art director for Ralph Lauren Media, and creative director for the Gear Foundation, Elizabeth has received awards and recognition for her exhibition design and publishing projects, including Richard Avedon in the American West for the Amon Carter Museum, the Corcoran Gallery of Art, and the Art Institute of Chicago, and curating several exhibitions at New York Leica's Gallery. She has been a contributor to L'All de la Photographie, the eye of photographs, since 2014, profiling events and notable professionals in the world of photography. In 2017, Elizabeth received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Griffin Museum of Art. And
Photography.
What? Museum of Photography, excuse me. Yes, I'm sorry. That's right. Elizabeth has been a great friend to the gallery over the years, so we appreciate everything she does.
Very much. Okay. So Kevin, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little screen share and go through each of the images. I've invited people, if they have anything to say about their images, to email it to me, and we will read that information during the presentation. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we have one more thing to do.
What do we do?
Elizabeth wrote a juror statement. That's what I'm holding in my hand. I was wondering why I was holding that.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Elizabeth's statement. It says, water is the most essential of all our natural resources. Every language has a word for water. It's current, a powerful, God.
I told you.
Can't always blame everything on COVID, right?
Well, we can't for now, so take advantage of it.
Just be stupid. Water is the most essential of all our natural resources. Every language has a word for water. It's current, a powerful force flowing through our lives, experience, and memory. While during these images, our present future environment was uppermost in my mind. We often take water for granted, though it may become our most expensive commodity in a few short years. Bob Tully's Sacred Water won my Juror Award, the 9/11 Memorial Pond, reflecting for all of us a place of remembrance. Cindy B. Waters' Water is Alive, with two girls drinking water from a fountain, is from her Orbit Village project. Waters struggled for over 20 years to bring water to their village in Nairobi, and this was the first time they had gotten the water flowing through the faucets. The girls were so excited about being so easily able to drink water. I wish I could have chosen all 1,359 images submitted. They were all inspiring, artistic, creative, and beautiful, and I thank everyone for entering. And we thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go through each one of them and talk about the photographer and read any information that we might have about the image. So Kevin, would you like to start the screen share?
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, we do post every single one of these images on social media. And if you go into no, what's it called? Instagram. You can actually, if you like an image, that's like voting for the image. So we're looking for the most votes for the person to receive the Visitors Award. So if you have an image that you really, really like, please go in there and look on our Instagram account and like it. And that photographer could possibly win the Visitors Award, and they would really appreciate it.
That's right. Are we ready?
We're ready. Go for it. Okay. First of all, we have an image by Adrienne Villar. She lives not too far from us in Kyle, Texas. It's called Observing, and it is part of the 27.
I love that image.
Do you know where that is, Kevin?
No, but remember the hippo at the Houston Zoo that was like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Next, Amy McCrory. Amy lives in Houston, Texas. This is also part of the 27, and it is a self-portrait, and this is entitled Turbulence.
Amy's
amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
She's a very bold individual.
She is.
She does some wonderful work.
So while we're talking about this, I know she has a fabulous website, as do a lot of these people. So if you go into the gallery online exhibition, you can see links to all of their websites. So I'd encourage you to look at more of her work as well as Adrienne's work too. Okay, next we have an image by Alec Dan. It is entitled Fault Line 15. Alec lives in Washington, D.C. And also, if some of these images aren't digital pigment prints, I'll tell you if there's something different.
Very nice.
Yes, it's beautiful. So this one, we have a story for this one, Kevin. This is an image by Alfonso Cebolo, and Alfonso lives in Dallas, Texas. It's called Liz Ann Learning to Walk, and he wrote a story about this.
My wife, Lizanne, had been diagnosed 5 years earlier at the age of 39 with MS. And as the years wore on, she rapidly lost use of her limbs and other body parts. Toward the middle of her torturous journey with this terrible disease, we tried walking in water. At that time on dry land, she would use a walker. It was liberating for her, but also terrifying what was waiting for her on dry land and in the future. That was what I was trying to convey in the image, and especially with her facial expression. Liz Ann died in 2001 from complications brought on by the disease at the age of 48.
Wow.
Wow, what a wonderful image.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm.
Yes. Thank you for that, Alfonso. Next. Here we have, everybody loves when a dog does this right when you're next to him. This is by Andrew Meyerson. It's called Shake It Off. He lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Yeah.
I've experienced that many times.
I know, it's stinky and
very evocative.
Yeah. So this image is by Bob Tully. And disclaimer here, Bob Tully is no relationship to Kevin Tully. They are not related at all, right?
That's right.
That's very true.
But I'm just as interesting as he is.
Bob's a great guy. I wish everybody could meet him. So Bob won the Jurors Award with this image, and it is part of the 27, and it is called Sacred Water. And you know what? I think I screwed up. That's a square. We'll go to the next image. That's the real image. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is beautiful. We haven't been there to that monument. I'd like to go.
No.
Next, we have an image by Carol Isaac. This is entitled, hang on, Carol, I'll get to it in a minute. Entitled Pond with Trees and Stones. And Carol did write a little story about this for you, Kevin.
Sure. My good luck. During the depth of COVID, the Lan Su Chinese Garden was the only cultural institution open in Portland, Oregon. As a lover of things Asian, I was able to visit the garden regularly. Over the course of the last 3 years, I've accumulated a substantial portfolio of garden images. This photo of water was made observing the pond at the garden. Very nice image, Carol. Thank you so much.
And as I said, she lives in Portland, Oregon. And next we have, oh no, this is by Catherine Carter. Catherine lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and it is entitled Adrift.
There's definitely a story there.
There is definitely a story there. That would have been good for your story thing. Actually, she's in the story too. Yeah, this is a great image. And here we have Kathy Spence. Kathy's from Beaumont, Texas, a place I know well.
Me too.
You do too. This is, it is part of the 27, and she did get the Director's Award for this image. It's entitled Bayou #1. Can I tell a Kathy Spence story?
You can.
So Kathy Spence, I've known of Kathy Spence's work for 30 years, a long time. She was a student in Beaumont at Lamar University of Keith Carter. And when she was there, she was working on a body of work for her senior or whatever. And she photographed these fabulous images of her kids. And this is back in darkroom days, so it's silver gelatin print. So she put asphaltum on them. And asphaltum is a pretty toxic chemical, but once you figure out how to do it and you take
basically kind of like tar.
It is kind of like tar. And it gives it a brown kind of golden glow. It's a really beautiful way to enhance your darkroom prints. I don't know how it works on digital. And I took a class from Keith Carter, and he brought one of her prints and showed it to us, and everybody was like, oh, this is fabulous. So we got on this huge asphaltum kick. It was wonderful. So thank you for that, Kathy. I appreciate that.
And we still have some asphaltum out there in the garage.
Yes, we do some. Yeah, it's probably no good, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. This is by Chris Leventis. Chris lives in Newport Richey, Florida. The title of this is Swamp Study #2, Florida, and it is part of the 27. Chris is working on his master's.
Chris is a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a very curious fellow, obviously, and he really is pursuing some nice work.
He uses big cameras. So this is at least a 4x5, if not an 8x10. I'm not really totally sure, but I mean, you can see what's going on with the water and the slow exposure, and yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, he does lovely work, and he sticks with the swamp. I love that.
Yep.
Next, we have an image by Christina McFall. Christina lives in La Jolla, California. This is also part of the 27, and this is called Malibu Lake.
I want to live there.
You want to live there? It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the image by Cindy B. Waters that Elizabeth mentioned in her statement. Cindy lives in Sevierville, Tennessee. It is part of the 27, and the title of this is Water is Alive. Cindy is a world traveler, and she has a cause, and of course this has a cause. Do you remember what it's called? Water is Life or something along that?
Very nice.
Yeah. So David McGee. David has a couple of images that we're fixing to show. This particular one is called Storm Over. Oh, am I lying? This is called Genesis. Sorry about that. This one is called Genesis. David lives in Dallas, and he does have stories about both of these images. Do you want to read this one first, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. So Genesis is okay.
Captured on a cool fall morning, this image was made at White Rock Lake in Dallas. The lake is located deep in the city and is one of my favorite places to photograph and relax. For me, fall into winter is one of the best times to make images. The days become shorter and get way to night sooner every day. This compresses the time to make images in each composition more value. It's beautiful.
I never would have guessed that was White Rock.
I wouldn't have either.
Because it's surrounded by city.
Yep.
So this image is called Storm Over
Cienega.
Oh, thank you so much. It it is part of the 27, and he also has a story about that.
When in New Mexico, I worked to take time to photograph south of Santa Fe. This day, a series of storms were rolling up from Albuquerque, and soon I find myself surrounded by intense lightning and thunder. Never using any kind of lighting triggers. I prefer to pick up the rhythms of the storms and did so on this exposure. Handheld with very high winds and a lucky guess on the lightning strike. This was one of my favorite images to capture in New Mexico. Wow, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good time to click the shutter.
That's a killer image, as they would say.
In more ways than
Who
one.
are they? They're knowledgeable people.
COVID brain. Okay. Okay, Kevin, you're supposed to click
Oh,
on the next
change
image.
that. Okay. There we go.
All righty. So this is Debbie Aiken's image. Debbie lives in Monterey, California. It's part of the 27. It's called Falls to Pieces #1. So this particular image, it's hand-folded pigment print. So she's devised a way to actually print a print, and then she folds it in certain places. And I mean, this is, you don't just accidentally do this. She's got it all planned out exactly where she wants those folds. And she's got a whole series of these that are quite
they're
stunning.
wonderful. Yeah. Very thoughtful.
I love this image. You know who did this?
No.
Oh, can't believe that, Kevin. This is Elliot.
Elliot
Elliot Shilkraut.
Elliot Shieldcraft.
Elliot lives in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. This is part of the 27, and it is called Water 3. It almost makes me seasick, Elliot.
It's a wonderful.
It's just beautiful.
And if you don't, Elliot's a great guy. If you don't know Elliot, you need to go meet him.
Look at his website.
Yeah, you probably better not show up all at the same time.
Okay. He does a lot of in-camera movement, which is part of what's going on here.
Yeah, he's a wonderful fellow.
So this is another fabulous image. Oh boy. Sorry. My papers are out of order. I'll get there. Here we go. This is an image by Gerald Schunkwiler, also known as Jerry. This is called Frozen Water. He lives in San Diego, California, and it is part of the 27.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the light on that is just
it's
something
incredible.
else, man. It's great. Here we go. Okay, this is by Hans Grievers. Hans lives in Bonn, Germany. The title of this is Tim Noel, which is his son, and it is part of the 27.
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful image. I love this. This is by Ignacio
Iastaran.
Iastaran. That sounds lovely.
Okay.
Ignacio lives in Brooklyn, New York. This is called Childhood Memories, and it is part of the 27. I love the fact that it looks like it was taken back in 1945 or something.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those rocks, famous rocks off the coast of Oregon, and I can't tell you which one.
I can't remember the name of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay. Here we have an image by Irina Leventhal. Irina lives in San Carlos, California. It is called Canal. It's beautiful.
Nice.
Wow. Janis Miglos. Janis actually won Story, her exhibition way back a year ago. Janis lives in Sherwood, Oregon. This is called Blue Pool. The colors are just amazing.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, good job. And I love this one too. It's just so quiet and peaceful, and they're out there fishing.
Yeah.
This is called Fishing in the Fog. It's by Jason Deckman, who lives in Killeen, Texas, which is just right up the road from us. It is part of the 27.
Yep. I wish I felt good enough to be out there with them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I wonder where that is. I don't know. Now this one, it's like biblical water. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's called Wind Whipped Water. It's by Jeff.
Who?
Jeff.
Where? Oh,
Skew?
you know, Jeff is going to be angry at us. We talk to Jeff all the time, but we only call him Jeff, so we don't actually know how to pronounce his last name. We're gonna say shoe, but we've heard skew and we looked it up and we hadn't figured it out yet. So Jeff needs to call us and tell us how to pronounce his last name.
Jeff, you're a fantastic photographer. And Jeff lives in Chicago, Illinois. This is part of the 27. And he's fixing to have his 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, Jeff is
That
a
is
really,
amazing.
really wonderful photographer and a good fellow.
That's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
Jaleesa Peterson. Jaleesa lives right down the road in Austin. She's become a really good friend. She's had quite a few images in our gallery for years. She photographs mainly in Mozambique, and I know that's where that is. This is entitled, boy, it's dark in here. Ennis, maybe Ennis, and it is part of the 27.
She has a real gift for portraiture.
Absolutely, especially with these people.
Yeah.
She has a story to tell, and
Yeah.
she's going back in November.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Jim Tetro. Jim lives in Arlington, Virginia. This image is part of the 27, and it's called Autumn Reflections.
Yeah, the colors matter just great.
It is lovely, quite lovely. Okay. These guys better get out of the water. That's all I'm going to say. This is an image by Joseph Kane. He lives in Evanston, Illinois. It's called Mystery Ahead. I think there's more than a mystery. I think something's going to get them.
Yeah, I used to, my days down on the beach, I would love it when those storms would come in. And just it's all this energy that you're surrounded by.
Okay. Justin McLaughlin is the photographer here. It's an untitled image. He lives in West Hollywood, California.
Yeah, that's great.
It is a good
A
image.
good summertime image.
I know, we could use some
We could
coolness
use some
around
cool
here.
water.
Okay. This is by Catherine Coleman. Catherine lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. No fair. We all want to live in Honolulu, Hawaii. This is part of the 27, and the title of this is, do you want to try saying that? It's in Hawaiian.
Himanu. Something to that effect. Yeah.
And I don't know what that means. I should have looked that up.
That's a wonderful image.
It is a wonderful image. All of her images are fabulous. Go look at her website, and it's a real treat.
You know, this is one of those images that is a perfect example of testing something in black and white, because you know typically you get so taken by color, and I'm sure that's an incredibly colorful image.
Yeah.
But boy, that really works in black and white.
What are those things?
Some kind of ray.
Okay. Polka dotted rays.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful. This is an image by Kathy Friedstein. She lives in Port Townsend, Washington. And it's called Literal Impressions #2. Kathy wrote a little story about this.
We will be in Port Townsend here shortly.
And hopefully we'll be seeing Kathy.
Yeah. Okay. Living in a coastal town along the Olympic Peninsula, I frequently walk and photograph our nearby beach. My beach walks have become contemplative moments in our country as our country tries to navigate through a pandemic, social injustice, and climate change. I think of how it is so difficult to make social and political change for the better in our world. In contrast, the physical world changes so easily. I find it refreshing to watch the ocean's tides come and go, depositing sea life and stones in different places each day. When I photograph these daily variations, and I do not alter or remove anything, I focus on the detail and texture of these beach findings and abstract them away from their surroundings. I'm in awe of the gravitational pull of the moon and sun that creates these lovely, transitory, and ever-changing beach deposits. The sun, moon, and stars are the one constant on Earth. Climate change resulting in the ocean warming is of great concern. I hope these images shed light on our intimate relationship with our natural environment and the importance of preserving it. That's very important.
Yeah.
We need to hear more of that.
Those are great images.
Yeah.
I love that it's a triptych.
Yep.
You want to guess what the name of this is?
Canoe and pool.
I think it's a little more than that, but that's close. It's like there's a canoe in the pool.
Yeah.
So
I want to be there.
yeah, no kidding. She has a story about it. This is by Lori Freitag. And she lives in LA. Looks very LA, doesn't it? And if you don't know who Lori is, she does a thing called LA Photo Curator, I think it's called. And she does calls for entry. So you might want to look that up and maybe join in on what she's doing.
That's right. There's a canoe in the pool, struck me as so odd. It begged to be photographed, and I obliged. This was in the backyard of a home of a producer who has wonderful house concerts in the Hollywood Hills. He told me the canoe has been in his pool since 2015. I can just imagine trying to row that thing in this small space. I just love finding this unexpected treasure. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, pretty wild. Okay, some more beautiful, cool water. This is an image by Leland Smith. He lives in Darien, Connecticut. It is part of the 27, and it is called Ode to Van Gogh.
I love this movement of this grass over here.
I don't know where it was taken. I wish he would have told us that, but he
wonderful.
did not.
Very nice.
This is by Leslie Blessing, who lives in Austin, down the road from us. This particular image is a giclée on Kozo, and it has gold leaf, copper leaf, and gouache on it. It's entitled Daydreaming, and it is part of the 27.
Beautiful. I wish you could see that in person.
Yeah, and goodness, it's 12 by 18, so she went all out on that. That's pretty big to leave.
Yeah.
Good job. This is called Visitors at the NGA. It's by Leslie Landerkin. Leslie lives in Alexandria, Virginia. And oh, there's a story. Sorry. She'll explain it all to you.
I'm not a fair weather sunrise, sunset photographer, but one who looks for the special in the ordinary. I love fog and fabulous light, but the joy comes from spending time with the camera where I am. My images range from macro floral portraits to landscape to cityscapes, including the world of the homeless. The best moments as a photographer are seeing something special, something hidden from casual view, or found in plain sight but highlighted wondrously in light. These moments become ecstatic when my camera captures them and I can show them to others. Frequently, sitting on the little stool I carry, compositions are found that would have been missed. The slower pace provides time to gain a sense of the place, appreciate the scene, and find that special moment. Visitors at the NGA was made as I was photographing the water pouring over the fountain in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. I decided to photograph the visitors through the water as they were unaware of my presence and enjoying their time in the gallery. My images can be viewed on my website, leslielanderkinphotography.com.
Excellent.
Nice shot.
Yeah, nice statement too.
Yeah.
I love this image. This is by Linda Plaisted. Or yeah, I'm going to say that's right. I probably screwed your name up, Linda. She lives in Frederick, Maryland. This is called Undertow, and it is part of the 27, and she wrote about it. I'm going to let you read that. It's really interesting.
Let's see here. I created this piece entitled Undertow on a visit to Southern California to visit my family. My young niece, only 11 or 12 years old, was training to qualify as a junior lifeguard in Newport Beach. As part of their rigorous training, on final exam day, all the young swimmers had to jump off en masse the very tall, very long pier at Balboa Island and swim back to shore against a powerful Pacific current. As I found a spot against the railing to compose my shots from above, I freely admit I felt more than a little vertigo. It was a long way down and a long way back to shore. The bravery of the kids, some as young as 8 years old, in the face of what must have been an utterly terrifying rite of passage, was a sight to behold. But the image of them facing that fear, to make the adrenaline-filled jump out into midair and then have the strength, stamina, and courage to make it back to dry land stays with me to this day. The young swimmer in Undertow was one of the last to make it back to shore. As he swam, arm over arm toward the beach, he kept getting pulled back out at every time he reached one particular pocket of waves, likely a dreaded rip curl. His exhausted fellow lifeguards in the water were too focused on getting back themselves to notice his struggle. Everyone on the pier who had been watching anxiously began to cheer him on when he finally found his reserve of inner calm to stop fighting against the current and swim parallel to the beach until he was free of the rip and catching his breath on the sand with his friends. That's fantastic.
So she did send us a picture of the after when he's walking out on the sand. So all turned out good.
Well, good for him. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's an amazing image.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have two images by Lisa Levine. This particular one is called Blue Pools #2. And we did put this one in the 27. And she's from Oakland, California. And we have a story about these, Kevin. So Blue Pools is down here. Start with that one.
In the topography's work, I have also used the grid as a point of departure. Here, the nature of these fluid constructions presents a discourse of contradictions, micro and macro, time and timelessness, and the containment of things that cannot be contained, movement that cannot be still. The grid lends geometry and so tends to rationalize or abstract what otherwise be mainly pictorial. I am filling a vast expanse, a kind of landscape without perspective. I refer to the idea of topography, a description or an analysis of a structured entity showing the relations among its components, as a format in which I can keep small details and still make a space that could go on and on, like the ocean itself. When we look at the world, we assemble small views into a large idea like the ocean. We can't see it all at once, at least not the way we know it. My views construct the whole from its many parts. Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I mean, you could look at that forever.
Yeah. Just conceptually, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Go to the next one.
Oh, I got to do that, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is called Jacob's Pillow. And she also wrote a statement about it too.
The swim series is about vernacular dance and choreography inherent in the mundane experience of swimming. In these works, water becomes the medium through which figures find connection to each other despite the rigid geometric construction in which they find themselves. In the work, I am looking at the choreography of individual figures when his or her weight is lifted by the water. Each person's body responds to the freedom of weightlessness in the water environment in a unique way. This is what fascinates me when observing ordinary people moving in the world and moving in the water. Later, when composing the pieces, I look for patterns of movement and rhythms that speak about how the subjects, who become my dancers, relate to each other in the overall choreography of the scene. I construct specific patterns of movement across the space of the photograph. I'm interested in how each dancer's movements lead into complement, contrast, and punctuate the movements of the other. The structure of the work creates a separation between individuals by imposition of the geometry, and at the same time, the implied lines of movement between figures creates a sense of individuals working in consort within the larger structure of the dance. The works are constructed using the grid or the rectangular photographic frame as a point of departure. Within these geometric confines, I look for the organic rhythms of the water and the dancers to emerge. I enjoy working within this contradictory space where the unyielding geometric or grid-like structures attempt to contain the fluidity of the water and the bodies, and where the tension between the visual separation and connection reflect the language of dance itself. Wow, nice.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that
Yeah.
with us. That was great. So these are big pieces. This particular one is 42 by 70, and just the blue pools, the one before it is 40 by 88.
These are
So
wonderful.
they're quite large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Marcy Tilton. Marcy lives in Cave Junction, Oregon. And the title of this one is Stone Bowl Reflection.
Nice shot, Marcy.
Yeah, nicely done. I love this one too. It's so soothing.
Ethereal.
This is ethereal. Okay, I'll go for that. This is by Margot Kessler Cook. It's called Coming, and she's from Daytona Beach, Florida. Have you noticed some of these people, a lot of these people that photograph water live by the water? That's nice.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
I know, but, we don't have any water shots. Anyway, Margot wrote a little statement about it. It's there, and it's a little bitty print, but you can read it.
All right. Since I live at the beach, thought it only befitting to share an image of the ocean for the water exhibition. Incoming is a captured moment from a morning beach walk. In post-production, I used a photo filter to drape the ocean in delicate shades of pastels. I wanted to give it a sheer curtain effect to draw the viewer into seeing the ocean as if looking from a beach cottage bedroom window. Very cool. And it does.
And it does.
Yeah. Good job.
This is by Mary Catherine Mesner. Mary Catherine lives in Chicago, Illinois. She just moved there from New York. And this is entitled Sunday Afternoon. And she wrote a little story about that.
In a world too often focused on divisions, I am to bridge the gaps by highlighting with my photography the beauty that resides within the diversity of our global tapestry. Currently based in Chicago, Illinois, I embark on journeys across the globe to collect visual stories that illustrate the human connections with our diverse world. My travels have taught me that while the cultural essence of each society may differ, our shared humanity remains unwavering. My body of work is a celebration of everyday life and the inherent beauty that resides within the ordinary. I am captivated by the subtle nuances and delicate moments that compose our daily existence. With my camera as my guide, I seek to reveal the extraordinary within the seemingly mundane and showcase the magic that permeates our lives one photograph at a time. Whether wandering through bustling city streets or exploring remote villages, I immerse myself in the cultural intricacies of the place. My images serve as windows into diverse communities, inviting viewers to witness the inherent human connections that bridge cultural differences. Through these glimpses into daily life, I am to cultivate empathy and foster a better understanding of the world and its people. My photography invites viewers to join me on a journey of discovery where the familiar and the foreign intertwine. I hope my work inspires a renewed sensibility for the rich tapestry of humanity and encourages viewers to see the extraordinary beauty that lies within their own lives. Very well said.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
Love that.
Very nice.
Michael Hart. Michael Hart lives in Houston, Texas. This is entitled Reeds in Water, Lochnavar, Scotland. What do you want to say about Michael?
Good job. Michael's also a bass player.
He is a musician. He's a fabulous photographer. His wife is an amazing singer.
Yes, very, very talented folks.
Yeah, they are very talented. So this image is by Ned Walthall. Ned lives in Princeton, New Jersey, although he used to live in San Antonio, Texas. And I think he grew up there, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
At some point lived there, yeah.
Yeah, so this is water number 15. He told us about this, and I, for the life of me, don't remember where it is. Somewhere around where he lives now.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
it's beautiful. What a sunset.
He also has done a series of images from a rookery in the San Antonio Zoo that if you have time, check it out. It's the story, the photographs are wonderful, and the story is really interesting.
And it'll make you mad, but
Yeah.
just go on and read it
Yeah.
anyway. It's kind of a sad story, and they should be ashamed. The zoo should be ashamed.
Yeah.
This is by Parker J. Pfister. Parker lives in Asheville, North Carolina. This is part of this 27, and this is called Thawing Ice 2. So what he's done is taken a print that he's made, and he's put it in a tray of water that froze, and then it started melting, and I think that's when he photographed it.
And I think that's a wonderful interpretation of the theme.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was part of the 27. Did I say that?
You did then.
Okay. Patrick J. Crone. He lives in Aiken, South Carolina. This is called Ball Cypress in the Fall. Those colors are
It's
just
just beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, you got to smile when you see this. You just can't help it.
Yeah, this is great social commentary. That says it all right there.
So this is entitled Selfie, as you might have guessed. This is by Paul Kessel, who lives in New York City. That's a great image. It's part of the 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one to resist. This is by Ralph Murata. Ralph lives in Tacoma, Washington. He just have a little story about this. This is entitled Fearlessness. Yeah, that's it.
This image, Fearlessness, from Ralph Murata, is from his series Lectrema. Lectrema was a mystical song written by the first Dalai Lama in the 13th century in celebration of the female goddess deity Tara. In Ralph's portfolio Lectrema, the images other female traits found in mythology and everyday life. This image is a composite of the landscape, capture and a model session in the studio to capture the figure. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a whole body of work around
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Pretty surreal.
Yes. Nicely done.
That rock formation is amazing.
Yeah. Wow. This is by Ray Coe. It's called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And he lives in Carmel, California, and it is part of the 27. Oh, I wish I knew more about it.
That's beautiful.
It's very large too. It's 50 by 60. It's,
Yeah,
a big image.
I'd like to see that in real life.
Yeah, I would too. So here we have Richard O'Neill. Richard photographs water a lot. He has a huge body of work around it. He lives in Thousand Oaks, California, and this one is called Imminent. Very nice.
And he captures the power of that moment when the wave is crashing.
He's standing up, right, on a cliff and looking down at the water.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So an image by Robert Dodge. Robert lives in Ocala, Florida. This is called Boys at Play. He lives in Thailand. I'm sure this is an image from Thailand, right? Yeah.
That reminds me of, is it the Lost Boys in Peter Pan? What are they called?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I wish I was in the water in 10 again.
with no worries.
Yeah.
No COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple of images here by Robin Boger. Robin lives in Newton, Massachusetts. She, well, this one is called, let me get them right here, Farlow Park Pond #1. And the next one is called Farlow Park Pond #4. That's a tongue twister, Robin. She's got a story about each of them. Okay, Kevin, it kind of starts here, and then here's 4 and here's 1.
What? Okay. So which one is this? #1?
That's 1, yes.
Okay.
Which is in the book.
This is in the 27.
Yeah.
In his book, Haiku, Volume 1, Eastern Culture, R.H. Blythe writes, "The work of the poet is to hide nothing in order to convey the power of seeing. The perception and expression of unity derive from particular, concrete enumeration of differences which must be expressed directly. The unity, however, must never be expressed. It must be overheard, felt like a breath of wandering air." So is this part of this here?
Well, there's kind of an overall statement, and then there's a haiku for each one.
As I practice this approach to seeing, I strive to make photographs that can be taken as visual poems, to present a set of particulars that to an engaged viewer can manifest as universal. The 2 images in this exhibit are part of a series begun during COVID. The series celebrates a small Victorian-era urban park that provided refuge to many during the pandemic. This park has at its heart a very small pond. Through the magic of nature, water, sun, and wind, this pond continues to be a source of energy and renewal for the community. These 2 images present different aspects of this magic. One depicts the power of water to inform, while the other demonstrates the power of water to transform.
Okay, so read the haiku for #1 and read it just like Robin would do it.
And that's this one.
This one.
Oh. Pond treasures ripple. Beside the stone bridge, a gift from the setting sun.
Okay.
Now, is there another image?
There is another image.
Let's go to that one.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
That's your job. Okay.
And this is Farlow Park #4. Mindful, the white dog, Mindful, the white dog scans the cloud scattered water, the scent of summer. Robin is a incredibly gifted writer and performer of her writings, and a great photographer. And the way that she combines the images with the verbiage is amazing, and she transforms photographs with her words. If you ever get an opportunity to hear her speak, you need to take it.
I agree. Thank you, Robin. So this is by Sandra Fine. It is entitled Hands, Jewels. It is part of the 27. Sandra lives in New York, New York. So actually Elizabeth mentioned this to me when she was jurying. She just loved the fact that those hands look like starfish.
Mhm.
And they really do, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, she loved this image.
Very cool.
So this is by Sarah Shore. Sarah lives in Denmark. The title of this is Independent, Interdependent.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's beautiful.
we're looking through something into
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this one too. It's the title of this is Arabesque. And it's by Cheryl Jacobs. She lives in Fort Mills, South Carolina. She wrote a little story about this one, Kevin.
Much like an artist, water can mirror its surroundings or transform their appearance. The water's image are elusive, revealing something different moment by moment. Let me start over again. COVID got me there. Much like an artist, water can mirror its surroundings or transform their appearance. The water's images are elusive, revealing something different moment by moment. In arabesque, the water's ripples gently take the tree's complex branching and mingle them with the soft, less defined clouds. A sense of peace is created amid the complexity. A moment later, the branches may have dissipated completely, a new image and emotion to ponder. The moment of time, quality of light, and emotions evoked are what I desire to capture and then invite the viewer into the moment.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Susan Laracus, she lives in Center Sandwich, New Hampshire. This is called August Rain, Bear Camp Pond. I'd love to go there. That's just beautiful.
That's a gorgeous picture.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we are at the end, Kevin.
Is this the last one?
Yes, last but not least.
And we live.
So far. This image, well, we got to get through this guy's name. This guy's Wojciech Naraki.
Okay.
He lives in Poland and he's a fabulous photographer. Look at his website. He's got some really wonderful work. This is called Tabular Iceberg. So somebody told us what a tabular iceberg was, and
I don't remember.
It's a big flat table thing
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. So that's a lovely image.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you. Well, Kevin,
we did it.
We made it
We
to the end
survived.
so far.
It would have been horrible if they'd have watched us die while we were doing that.
Could you give me that sheet of paper? Because we've got one more thing to talk about.
Okay. You want me to stop the share?
You can stop the share if you'd like. So we just want to make everybody aware that we're going to be going to Washington State. Kevin Starter lives there. And we're going to go visit her. And while we're there, we're going to teach some workshops.
Mhm.
So we have a leafing Kozo coal wax class coming up on September the 8th. And then that's in the morning. And then in the afternoon of the 8th, and also the 9th and the 10th, we're going to teach an encaustic workshop with hand coloring. So it's like a little over a 2-day class. And then on that Monday, the 11th, we have a class that Kevin's going to teach called Discovering Your Personal Aesthetic.
That's right.
Do you want to talk about that at all? A little bit?
Normally I would, but my brain is pretty foggy. Yeah. Over the past 11 years, no, well, we haven't been doing it that long, probably 8 or 9 years that we've been doing reviews. I've discovered that a significant amount of photographers can't really define what their personal aesthetic is. And I think that's, as an artist, I think that's an incredibly important aspect of your practice, your workflow, however you want to put it. And so what I am hoping that we will do is we'll have what I'm looking for is a conversation. So it'd be a very participatory moment where we get to talk about what that is and the importance of it, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so all of these workshops are going to be held on Whidbey Island at a place called the Laughing Goat Studio.
The Laughing Goat Studio is a friend of ours. He recently moved out to Washington from Austin, and he has this fantastic space that he's going to allow us to use. And this is going to be his inaugural event, and he's going to start holding workshops out in this space. And he's a sculptor and a psychologist.
And a photographer.
No, not a psychologist, a psychiatrist.
And a photographer.
And a photographer. He was a photographer first.
Yeah.
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 And a really good guy.
Okay.
All right.
So if you got any questions or want to know more about it, it's all on the website, or email me or whatever. Okay.
Thank y'all very much. We appreciate everybody that enters and supports the gallery.
Absolutely. And thank you for hanging in with us while have COVID brain.
We're not a whole lot different when we don't have COVID.
Well, you're probably right.
It's just we can use it as an excuse.
At least I didn't start coughing.
Okay,
Anyway.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Now, how do we end it?
Stop recording right there.
Oh, yeah.
We're on right